up for us, man.
I said, I'll bring it
I
in.
want to mention that.
I thought about not seeing
He
either.
should be running around.
Good evening, everyone. Let's call our regular meeting to order. Would you please stand for the invocation? Please let our bows heads. Father, thank you for another day you have blessed us with, oh Lord. Oh Lord, we ask you to oversee the parish, oh Father God. Father God, please put in the hearts and minds of the constituents, oh Father, to talk with us and ask us for what they need, and Father, and hope we can deliver as leaders, oh Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Follow me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we got a presentation for service award for Mr. Chester Simpson. He's not here. Well, we'll present it to you. Mr. Simpson has a 20-year service award.
Wow.
For his outstanding performance and due diligence and loyalty, presented by the DeSoto Parish Police Jury on the 17th day of April, 2023. Jody. All right. Jody.
You're not here?
You see him? I want you to take a picture of him.
Yeah.
Oh, you do. Maybe they'll get one when they give it to him. Kevin at the landfill, son.
Any announcements? Being none, call for additions and deletion to the agenda. I have two additions. The first one would be a resolution, and it would go as V, number 17. At the end of the, I'm sorry. The first one is policies and procedures. That will go at V, item number 17. That's recommend adopting the new holiday policy that came out of committee. Yeah. Okay. And the other one was be, yeah, let's take a roll call vote on adding that one. Mr. Fuller?
Adding what? Policy?
Adding to the agenda.
Holiday schedule? Aye.
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 Okay, it is added to the agenda as V, number 17. Okay, we got one more resolution for International Paper Company would go number 8 on the resolutions. And that will be authorizing president to execute a resolution authorizing the issuance of a revenue refunding bond in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $24.5 million, approving the form of authorizing the execution to deliver of the financial agreement, a trust indenture, and refunding agreement, a contract of purchase to other related documents, starting to appropriate the office of the police jury of DeSoto Parish, state of Louisiana, to execute such financial agreement, trust indenture, refunding agreement, contract of purpose as applicant, and all other documents, certifications necessary and contact therein. Authorizing application to state bond commission and connected therein. And the maximum interest rate to be borne by said revenue refunding bonds and maximum maturity of said revenue refunding bonds, authorizing the publication of a notice of a holding public hearing and providing for other matters with respect to foregoing. And that would be number 8. Roll call vote.
Point of information on that.
You got jokes.
So our talking to our legal counsel before the meeting began, legal has not had a chance to review that 8, 9, 10 pages of documents. we have not had the chance to review that. It was just on our desk when we walked in tonight. Is there something of urgence that, and this is the information I'm seeking, is there something of urgence that will or won't happen if we wait till the first meeting in May and do a special after the committee meeting and take care of that?
Yes,
He's your bond counsel,
Yes.
so.
Hardy Andrews with Foley and Udell. And to answer that question, yes, this has to be done by June 1st, pursuant to the information I've got from IP's representatives, their counsel. And we have bond commission. That's the biggest hurdle we've got right
When
now.
is the bond commission?
Bond commission is May 20th, and the application deadline is this Wednesday to get on that agenda. If we wait past that, we wouldn't be able to get it done by June 1st.
So,
I know it's a tight deadline, and I apologize for not getting it to you guys sooner. This was something that was presented to me after y'all's actual agenda deadline at the end of March for this meeting, and I do
That was
apologize.
our next question.
Yeah, this was brought to our attention, I think March 29th or March 30th, which is obviously after your agenda deadline for this.
When are you gonna hold the public hearing that they have to have?
I believe May 1st is what we had.
That doesn't have to be done by Wednesday?
No, it does not, no, sir.
Just from my recollection of serving on the jury, we do this every year, if it's every other year or something, I have seen this several times before.
Yes, sir. This is the same as we did last year, and I believe if we didn't do it in 21, I think we did it in 2020 as well. It's just a refunding of bonds that have been outstanding, previously authorized. I will note the important things, Section 9, the bonds don't constitute any claim of any general revenues of the issuer, which would be DeSoto Parish or the state or any other political subdivision thereof. So
And
this
then-
is.
And the intent, this is not something that is regular business. This is refinancing the current bonds.
Yes, that's correct.
Which is gonna save IP money, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that's the only reason it has to be done now.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's just not, it's not a regular occurrence. The one we did not too long ago was a $5 million bond that we authorized.
It was a smaller issue that was done previously. I don't remember if it was 2015 or before then, but it was just a smaller portion of the original issuance that we did last year.
And it's like all the ones we did previously. The police jury, we have no monetary responsibility in this whatsoever.
That's correct.
So this changes nothing to where we sit today to where we'd be after the June.
Yes, that is correct. It does not obligate the police jury to do anything. It's just allowing IP to use the police jury as a conduit issuance.
But no obligations, no costs, nothing, correct?
Yeah, any costs that are borne out of this come out of the monies that we received from the refunding.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote to add it to the agenda. Mr. Baker?
Aye.
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 Motion passes, add it. Underneath resolution. Okay, any guests and public comments to anything on the agenda? All right, being none. President report. President, he's ill and he's gonna give us another report on a later date. I'm sorry. Not the president report, I'm sorry. Council report.
Kinda ill.
The administrative report, what I'm getting at. He's got ill today, so he gives a report on a later date. Lobbyists? Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What do you have for us?
Good evening, members of the jury. Chance McNeely, y'all's lobbyist. So first, I apologize for not being here at the last meeting. I actually was sick last month, so glad
Good, you're
that
feeling better.
Michael and I swapped for this meeting. But wanted to come here today and update y'all on what's going on with the legislative session. Just a couple things off the bat. They went in last Monday. This is a fiscal session, so they're limited to 5 non-fiscal bills that each of them can file. and bills will continue to be filed for a couple more days. And so we will probably see a few dozen more bills get filed over the course of the next few days, and we'll be reviewing those. All in all, we're tracking about 50 bills for DeSoto Parish that have some sort of, peripheral effect on local government. Most of those, Police Jury Association and LMA and organizations like that take a leadership role on. And we've narrowed it down to really just a handful that are uniquely important to DeSoto Parish that I wanted to talk to you about. And we are going to go over the full list and be monitoring it, obviously, throughout the entire session. If something, becomes about DeSoto Parish, we'll certainly bring that to y'all's attention. So the first thing to talk about is capital outlay. As we've talked about multiple times, y'all applied for capital outlay this year. The governor gets the first stab at making a capital outlay budget, and so his budget proposal for the capital outlay is coming out tomorrow. So tomorrow we will know what the governor did or did not give to DeSoto Parish in his version of the budget. And so now from that point, we have 4 different opportunities to amend that budget. So that'll come out tomorrow. So we have 4, legitimately 4 distinct opportunities to try and amend on more funding for DeSoto Parish in the capital outlay process. It'd be great if he gave y'all everything that you asked for. He probably did not. And so we will work with y'all's elected officials and the chairman of those committees to try to get y'all as much money as we can. Again, general capital outlay projects are generally what's called general obligation bonds, which is where the state bonds out a portion of its general fund, a small portion every year, and they build things with that. Right, and so the reason that's important is because it ties directly into our next item, which is about severance taxes. Y'all are a huge the number 1 contributor of severance tax that goes into the general fund. So if you're not going to the state's not going to give y'all fix the severance tax issue, then they certainly should be giving y'all a lot of capital outlay money, right? And so there are. Larry Bagley actually has 2 bills, HB 280 and 277. I forgot to write that one. But together, they seek to maybe not resolve, but address severance tax issues for not just DeSoto Parish, but the full list of the parishes affected that would receive more money if the bill passed. DeSoto, this is the order of severance, who pays the most severance tax. DeSoto, Plaquemines, Caddo, Red River, Terrebonne, Lafourche, Bossier, Vermilion, St. Martin, St. Mary, Lincoln, Sabine, Cameron, Bienville, Beauregard, Natchitoches, Claiborne, Calcasieu, Iberia, LaSalle. So those are the big severance tax parishes in Louisiana. And what Representative Bagley's bill does is it takes that current cap. So right now the Constitution says any parish can keep 20% of its severance tax. But if there's a big but for DeSoto Parish, but that's capped at $850,000. So there are parishes who do get a full 20%. It's just such a small number that they don't hit the cap, Right. And so what Representative Bagley's bill does is it increases that cap in a way that DeSoto Parish could get or would get up to $10 million per year. And what it does, though, is it would give DeSoto Parish half, and this is not unique to DeSoto Parish, but I'm just telling you what it would do for DeSoto Parish. Y'all would get $5 million a year for roads and infrastructure projects, sewage, things like that. And then the other $5 million, this would be the case for every parish, would go to economic development. The reason that Representative Bagley did that is because last year he passed a bill with the support of NLEP to create a site development program. Our state is one of a few who do not invest in site readiness. And so in our state, you have what's called mega project sites and these mega sites where economic developers try to bring in big companies and really market their property. And what other states do a lot of times is they'll invest on the front end in drainage, they'll do environmental assessments, they'll build roads, they'll put in sewage. They do all these things to prep a site so that when a potential, company comes in, that it's ready to go. And so Representative Bagley passed that bill last year, and so now each region of the state gets site development money. But he only funded it 1 year. So he's looking at this as a way to fund that program on a recurring basis into the future. And so again, half of it would go for economic development, half of it would go to roads and bridges. Of note for y'all, y'all could give your $5 million to NLEP for them to use in the program, or y'all could do it yourself, but you would have to do it in a way that's consistent with the program if that bill passed. I know I've said a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I just have been texting with Representative Bagley. He feels very confident. This bill is coming up on Wednesday. So this coming Wednesday, it'll be in the House Ways and Means Committee. And it's two bills. They're a package. One's a constitutional amendment, and the other is which means the voters would have to, so it has to pass the House, and then the voters have to do it. And then, the other one is what says you have to spend half, this way and the other half that way. So that is Representative Bagley's bill. We will be working, I'm going to be in the committee. I will testify on your behalf along with Representative Bagley, and we're going to work very hard to try and pass this bill. I do know that various industry groups, they like it. Obviously, the economic development people like it. I don't know how hard they're going to push for it, though. And so just rest assured that we'll give it everything we've got to try to get it over the finish line. But again, that's in Ways and Means on Wednesday. The other bill that deals with severance tax is from Representative McFarland. He's from Wynn Parish. He's a logger from Wynn Parish, and he used to serve on his police jury before he was in the House, or he went to the House. His bill is the Police Jury Association bill. Okay, so they went to him and asked him to file this bill. And what it does is it takes right now in the Constitution, if severance tax revenue levels hit 09 levels, the cap raises up to 1.85 million, and then the next year 2.85 million. And so what it's doing is getting rid of that structure and just bringing it up to 2.85 million right off the bat. So it doesn't give you as much money as Representative Bagley's bill, but if it did pass, it would still be good. That's almost 2 million more than you're getting now. Right. If that bill passed. Now, he told me that the Department of Revenue notified him that the state's about to hit that 2009 threshold point anyway, and so they're projecting that in May that the severance tax rate will be at that rate, which means even if nothing passes, y'all will get more money next year. It would go up to the 1.85, and then again, once that trigger hits under current law, it would then go up to 2.85 in the future. Jack is trying to get y'all there like now,
right?
But with rates out with the totals where they are, it looks like y'all may get there anyway. Does that make sense?
Good. Yes.
Okay. And look, I would presume that we would support that bill too, right? We would. We would like both of them, or
Right.
either. So we're intending to support both of those bills. All right. Before I move on from severance tax, I know that's like our number one thing. So do y'all have any discussion or?
Yeah, I have one question on that. Current Constitution raises the cap to 1.85 million, then 2.85 million in subsequent years after the severance tax totals reach 2009 levels again. What if they fall back below the 2009 levels again? Would it go back?
When I read the
Does it stay there?
Constitution, it sounds to me like it stays up there. Even if the levels drop down, I'm not gonna pretend to fully understand that situation. Certainly,
So
we
we
have,
need the bill to pass then to make sure it stays there, right?
passing the bill would be a good way to make sure it stayed up there. And keep it out of a court situation where they, litigate the intent of the voters and all that kind of stuff. So yes, at a minimum, Jack McFarland's bill would what happens in the
Once we
future.
get used to it, we, we
Right.
don't wanna lose
Well,
it.
the good news is for DeSoto Parish, if we did get up to 2.8 from a production, perspective.
Is that 2009 level, that's based on each parish?
I think the state times in law, they have all these triggers in place that, if this happens and this happens. So 2009 is like it's all throughout the state laws. It talks about all these things that will happen if we ever get back to 09 levels.
All right.
And so that's one of those. Yep. Any other on severance?
But all these bills have to be voted on by the public. Correct.
Well, one of Bagley's does.
One,
The one that changes the caps, and Jack's does. The one of Larry's that dedicates the money, half and half,
Doesn't.
that's just a law. Yeah,
but the governor has to sign that too.
right, yep. And interestingly, the governor, of course, constitutional amendments don't go to the governor. So that's it's give and take. You got to go to the voters, but you don't have to go to the governor, So that's what's going on with that. So completely changing subject matter. Gadberry has a bill, and the only reason I bring this to your attention is I know that some local governments have been opposed to it. So he has a bill that would require local governments to require parade organizations to pay for cleanup of litter. And so, like, as an example, Shreveport, they've taken the position that if they do this, they'll never have another Mardi Gras parade. And so they don't want to have to charge for the cleanup of litter. And so I don't know if y'all have any interest in this issue, but I wanted to bring it to your attention because it's a bill that you would think cities would like or local governments would like, but then some of them don't. So I wanted to put that on y'all's radar. This next bill by Chris Turner, there are currently parishes or local taxing authorities with respect to sales tax have the ability they have to exempt 46 different drugs from sales tax. And then there's this whole list of other drugs that y'all get to choose whether or not you subject sales tax to them. What this bill would do is make it to where every single drug is sales tax exempt. I'm going to get with y'all's tax collector, but I would presume that would have a substantial negative impact to your budget. And so I know, again, from talking to the city of Shreveport, they think that it would be like I think $2 or $3 million maybe for them. I'm not sure what it would be for y'all, but I want to have that information so we can educate legislators about it. I do know that all of the local government groups are opposing that bill. And so Chris Turner is a Republican from kind of like around Louisiana Tech over there. And then this next bill is one that we've talked about before, but a new version, Rep. Bo Bouye. This is the centralized sales tax collection bill. That creates a commission that would be the single collector, so it would not be the Department of Revenue, but it creates this new commission that has local representation and state representation and this new entity that would centralize sales tax. And so this is being messaged as a compromise bill that LMA and police jury are kind of sort of not strongly opposed to. But I don't, whether or not it passes or not, I don't know. And so those are the main bills that I wanted to bring to y'all's attention. There are a slew of other bills, as I mentioned, that are relevant for y'all, at least from a local government perspective, different exemptions for various taxes. Like there's one for exempting sales tax if you're a farmer who's buying fence materials, right? There's little things like that are out there. But these are the main ones, and certainly I know that our primary objective is to get as much money back to the parish as we can. So,
Those bills on the website?
sorry?
Are those bills on the website?
Yes, sir, they are. What I do is I have a report of all the bills that is marked for DeSoto Parish that I've sent to Mr. Norton. I'm sure we can circulate that around, but it's where you can click on the bill and the bill will come up so you can read it. If that's something that y'all would like to have emailed out to y'all.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Okay. All right. Any other questions for me?
No.
I'll be back in touch tomorrow let y'all know what's in the budget.
If those bills do pass, when will they go into effect?
The severance tax bills, they'll be put on the ballot. It says effective upon voter approval on October 14th of 23. So
Statewide election or?
that'd be a statewide election. Yeah. So the constitutional amendment gets voted on by the whole state. And again, the good news is this is not just about DeSoto Parish, right? I mean, y'all have several parishes, many of whom have very influential legislators right now as far as like serving on committee, chairmanships. Like Terrebonne, Lafourche area, well, that's the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, right? That's a good thing. St. Mary Parish, that's the chairman of Ways and Means in the Senate, or your tax committee in the Senate. So you've got people who inherently would care about this subject matter who are over those areas. So we're gonna work hard to get it done, and like I said, secure as much funding. I mean, look, the rhetoric that I'm gonna include in my testimony is that from when I left to go to LSU to now, DeSoto Parish has, probably contributed well over $1 billion, and I'll come up with a figure, but well over $1 billion in severance tax. And as far as I can tell through public records, y'all have only ever actually got money in your hand, $50,000 from capital outlay. So that's pretty strong,
Until this year. Until this year.
We need to make a trip down there.
until this year. And so,
Trip to the governor.
if any other member of the legislature had that going on, they'd be bringing a bill too, And I think that, Chairman Bagley, again, he is a chairman, and he's an influential member of the body, and I feel like we can get something done for you guys. But we'll certainly shame everybody in the course of it. So
You might need to go down and address the assembly, huh?
maybe so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes my update. Thank y'all for the opportunity to work for my home parish, and I'm gonna get back down there and do my job.
Yeah. Thank you for your time and effort.
Thank you.
Treasurer, financial report.
Good evening. I hope y'all had some time to read over the financials. I'm just gonna kind of hit the high points. As you can see, the sales tax revenue, it's at 37%. That's roughly about 12% above our projections for the year. General expense fund, the general fund expenses are around 26.70. They're just a little bit above our budgeted amount by 1.7. Solid waste is at 48% in revenue, while the expenses are about 10% lower than the projections. They're currently at 13.67. Office of Community Service, the revenue is at 9.44. little bit lower than what we expect, but we got about 2 months lagging on reimbursements from state and federal grants that we get. The road department, the revenue, it's about 10% above projections. Once again, that's really due to the sales tax being up. Expenses are currently at 9.9%. I expect that to be going quite a bit up in the coming months due to, you know, spring weather and getting some roads and projects going. The criminal fund is at 39% for revenues, while the expenses are at 19.68. We pay some of those expenses quarterly, so we'll have that going up here in April once we get that quarterly reimbursements that they'll be asking for payment. The ARPA will be transferring that $1 million to the road budget, and we have moved the $1 million that's allocated to each juror to the defer revenue. It'll stay there until we get spending that money on whatever juror's allocation will be. The animal services are at 22% for expenditures, while revenues are at 94%, and that's after we made the operating transfer of $500,000 that comes from the general fund. The correctional fund is at 0.02 for expenditures. Those expenditures include payments for advertising and payments to the architect Newman Marshy. At the last meeting, we had discussed us getting y'all some figures for that. We did receive 2 invoices that cover up to the bidding phase. That comes to $69,872.09 that we will be cutting a check here in the next few weeks once all that gets approved. After we pay that, the total payments made to the architect for the project, which, like I said, is up to the bidding phase, it's $1,429,926.28, which out of that, we're going to be billing the sheriff 33% for their portion of their offices. And then in addition, we do have advertising fees that came up to $3,573.28, and then we had some legal fees in the amount of $10,141.25. But once we pay that $69,872.09, we'll be done with our contractual obligation to that bidding phase, you know, because and I guess y'all can decide how we're going to move forward with that project. And then I was also asked to verify the budget for, it's an item on the agenda for the transportation program that goes through Office of the Council on Aging. Just to let y'all know, I did check into that. The police jury has never been out of pocket on that. They get every matching fund through contributions, in-kind contributions. That's my financial reports. Do y'all have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Corsia.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve the financial report.
Got a motion
I'm
by
sorry.
Mr. Baker, second by Mr. Ernell Jones. Please vote. Motion passes. Approval of minutes. March 20th, 2023, Budget and Finance Committee meeting, regular meeting and special meeting. April 3rd, 2023, Administrative Buildings and Properties, Budget and Finance Policy and Procedure, Road and Solid Waste Committee meeting. And April 10th, 2023, special meeting.
So move with all necessary corrections.
Got Fuller made the motion.
Yeah.
Got a second by Ms. Burrell. Discussion. None, please vote. Motion passes. Item number, no old business, no new business. Resolution, item number 3. Recommend authorizing president to sign a resolution with Beta Land Service for the assistance of state agency, lease number 22119 for Beta Land Service, LLC. All of their rights, titles, and interests in said lease until Chesapeake, Louisiana, LP. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Ernell Jones. Discussion. If none, please vote. Motion passes. Item number 4, recommend authorizing the president to sign a resolution calculating revenue loss per ARPA calculation for FY 2021.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Baker,
Second.
second by Mr. Parker, Mr. Kennington. Discussion? None, please vote. Okay, motion passes. Item number 5, adopt a resolution for the canvass of return of declaring a result of the special election held in Sales Tax District 1 of the Parish of DeSoto, State of Louisiana, on Saturday, March the 25th, 2023, to authorize the levy of a sales and use tax therein.
So moved.
Do I have a motion? Got a motion by Mr. Kennington.
Second.
Do I have a second by Mr. Baker? Discussion.
Yes, sir. Can somebody elaborate on what this is?
We're just declaring the results that were given to us by the Secretary of State in the election that was held on March the 20th.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
You're required by law, sorry, Hardy Andrews, Foley Udell again, on council. You're required by law to do this after every election, whether it's successful or not. So this is just going through that process.
Just want to make
Yes,
sure.
ma'am.
Thank
I guess I need to look up.
you. Please vote. Motion passes. Item number 6, recommend authorizing the president to sign a resolution for the administrative to negotiate with biomethane partners for installing of a gas system.
So moved. Second.
Got a mover by Mr. Fuller, second by Mrs. Trina, Mrs. Burrell. Discussion? If none, please vote.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by negotiate with biomethane?
Well, that's negotiate the contract with what they presented with us with the, what it was,
Yeah, I thought we had already determined that in the,
yeah, that was
Committee.
committee.
yeah.
This is the final, we have to do it twice.
Yeah, worded the same.
Okay, all
Just
right,
recommend it's final.
okay. Okay. I just didn't want to undo what we have
No,
done.
Oh, no.
I don't want to undo what we done.
Mr. Jones, whenever I asked Michael about it, when I saw the agenda, he just said that it would still come back to us to approve the actual
Okay,
terms. He was just getting permission to go
yeah,
do the.
Do the legwork.
all right.
There, no more questions, please vote.
We got Ms. Burrell, Mr. Holmes, and Mrs. Simpson.
Okay. Motion passes. Item number 7, recommends adopting the 2023 millage rates.
So moved.
The motion by Mr. Baker. Second by Mr. Parker. Discussion. None, please vote. Motion passes. Number 8, resolution for International Paper Company, authorize president to execute a resolution authority to assurance of revenue funding bond of aggregate principal amount not to exceed $24,000,005, approved by the form authorization and execute the delivery of the finance agreement, a trust indenture, refinance agreement, a contract of purchase, other related documents, authorizing the appropriate office of the police jury of Parish of DeSoto, State of Louisiana, to execute such financial agreement, trusted indention, refunding agreement, contract of purpose as applicated, and all other documents, certification, the means necessary and connecting therewith, authorizing application to the State Bond Commission in connection there in designate of maximum interest rate to be borne by said revenue refunding bond and maximum maturity of said revenue refunding bonds, authorizing the publication of a notice of a holding of a public hearing and providing for other matters with respect to foregoing.
So moved.
Yeah,
Got it. Mr. Kennington made the motion.
yeah.
Ms. Burrell second. Discussion? If none, please vote.
You wanted to read it again? Do we?
Okay, motion passes.
Already?
Do anybody need to back up there?
To add it.
No.
No, ma'am. Administrative item.
Recommends authorizing the president to execute the state project number RU 18-16-24 Public Transportation Operating Assistance Program for the non-urbanized area of DeSoto Parish.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Jones
Mr. Fuller.
and Mr. Fuller.
Mr. Mitchell and Ms. Burrell.
All right, motion passed. Recommends correcting the DPPJ 2023 holiday schedule, recognizing Juneteenth to be observed on Monday, June 19th, 2023, and move the regular meeting to Tuesday, June 20th, 2023.
So moved.
So,
Mr. Fuller, got a motion?
second.
Ms. Simpson.
Second by Ms. Simpson. Any discussion? Vote. Motion passed. Recommends authorizing the president to sign a CEA with the Opioid Abatement Administration Corporation and a non-qualified, non-lead parish.
So moved.
Have a motion by Ms. Burrell. Second.
Second.
I have a question.
All right, any discussion?
Yes, sir, I do.
That's the one.
Mr. Kennington? Yeah.
Your
This,
meeting, Mr. Ross.
yeah. Or
Go ahead.
whoever.
No.
I was raising my hand, but
Yeah, go ahead.
I've had a lot of calls on this, and honestly, I've researched it, and it's clear as mud. It's clearer today. It's clearer today than it was last night, but it's still muddy. It's my understanding this opioid abatement administration, it's this group of people that are gonna run this thing, that are gonna be appointed or selected. If they choose, and I may be wrong, this is kinda what I'm asking, if they choose to create a program that we have in this parish, and that program hires 5 people to run the program, we're only getting how much money
Not much.
Roughly, it was about 152.
in 2 years?
In 2 years.
And we gotta give 20% of that to the sheriff, right?
Correct.
Oh,
So I guess all I wanna do is make sure that we're not committing ourselves into something that's gonna be another government funding program down the road. And
That runs out and we have to.
I don't know that answer. I haven't seen enough and can't find enough.
Right.
Does anybody know more than I do?
motion.
The only thing that was said at that conference was that it comes with, limitations of how you're supposed to spend that
Right.
money, whether to be either having a subrecipient to organizations that help the cause. It's very broad in there of what you can spend it on. So, I really, Kyle, don't have a whole picture of that. I know there was some that in that meeting was explained that we could probably spend some of that money on transportation costs, like the coroner's office, for example. If they went and treated a case for that, we could reimburse some of those expenses to that.
So we're limited.
Now, they did, like I said, had a warning as far as not going ahead and have subrecipients through programs that are already available that get funding from other sources. So kind of stay away from funding those type of programs, because then it would be like you said, we would continually have to keep on funding those. But like I said, it's a very gray area.
Yeah.
And we need to.
Well, and that's, reading from, I took screenshots of the presentation I watched
Yeah.
online, and it says it can be spent in 3 ways: treatment, prevention, or other strategies, and that's the definition of how it can be spent. But it looks like in the next section under treatment, you can do direct treatment with mental health issues, and all this stuff is good stuff. I just don't want to create
Correct.
something that we can't fund long term. Support of people in treatment, connecting addicts to care facilities, addressing needs of criminal justice involved parties, addressing the needs of addicts who are pregnant, parenting, or infants impacted by the exposure to the drugs. And then it goes on to prevention, and it talks about other but it looks like the whole thing is creating. It looks like the whole thing is creating something new, but then the judges are all at a conference right now, or were last week, all across the state. And they're all coming up with a plan to create their own plan to spend this money collectively. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We do have drug problems that need to be addressed. Here again, I just don't want to create a new program that we can't fund long term. And I just wish somebody could look into that or answer that, or maybe we all feel comfortable. I don't know. I'm just sharing what I know about it.
That motion.
So is this a national program?
It's for this whole state of Louisiana.
State of Louisiana?
It is, and the problem is no money will be distributed until all parishes sign off on it.
Yeah.
And right now, there's only, I've heard 7 and I've heard 11. The rest of them haven't signed off on it yet.
But where is the money coming from, though?
Federal government.
Federal government?
Well, let me back up. It's coming from the drug companies.
Settlement.
Drug company?
The lawsuit.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're gonna ask for in return.
But it's a long term. We get a hit right up front. We get 2 years right up front, and then it drops.
Total, it drops consecutive. It's for 18 years, but it drops. There is really not even a formula of how it drops. If you looked at what I sent you, it's just different numbers all through the whole 18 years that we'll get that money from that settlement.
Yeah.
We have to.
So we wouldn't have to come back and renew the CEA every year? This is a one-time deal?
I think we may need to get some more info on this, man.
Me personally, I'm not I don't understand it. I don't like voting on stuff I don't understand.
More,
Need to get more
information on this.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm-
Because we be stuck with something that.
I make the
we can't
motion to
keep-
defer this
Yes.
to, further notice.
Further
Get more
get more information about it.
Yeah. Second by
Aye.
Mr. Parker.
Motion and a second to defer.
Yes, sir.
I told him this is meeting.
Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez,
This is meeting. Why you let-
Mr. Parker, second.
Told him this your meeting.
Right. Ain't this your me?
Yeah, but he had to read it off. Then I'll do the rest. Please vote.
We're voting to defer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes.
All right, number 11, recommends changing the language on corporate endeavor agreements that all expenses be paid by the entity requesting the work to be done. Do I have a motion?
Yeah.
Mr.
Discussion.
Parker, Ms.
Discussion.
Burrell, and
Yes.
discussion.
I spoke on this last time, Mr. Chairman, and I confirmed today, right before this meeting, that nobody else has asked for this list, but I have a list of all the CEAs from 2022 that we were part of. There's only 2 involving other municipalities for the entire 2022. There was one for Village of South Mansfield, cutting side streets, repairing hole on Oakdale, cleaning ditches on Shell Street and Division Street. And then there was another one with the town of Logansport to remove debris at Rodeo Arena. I think we all voted in favor of doing that. And so I guess I go back to the point I made the last time. I don't believe this is necessary. I haven't seen enough logic to see why it's a need. It's going to hurt other projects that I highlighted on my copy here, like Waterworks District 1, getting an extension for their water line. We provided some of that funding. We'll no longer be able to provide that funding if we do this. River Shore Trucking paid for some work off of Liberty Lane. We kicked in some money on that. The big question I have is what's it going to do to all these CEAs with Logansport Festival, Juneteenth, fireworks, Crew of Aquarius, the Ag Center, the DeSoto 4-H, Sabine River Authority, Atheon Energy for Wallace Lake up in Frierson. Wallace Lake Road, they gave us $170,000, and I believe we spent another $270,000 to overlay that road. That's going to be done with. All these oil and gas CEAs, we're going to have to make them pay for all of it, or it's not going to get done. And I made mention last time that these people pay taxes, and they deserve to get that work done. And even in our most recent road tax that was passed, the language in that says, for the purpose of constructing and maintaining public roads and bridges and for the purchase of equipment and supplies with which to do such work in and for the whole of the parish, title to which shall be in the public. So that's actually from the ballot that people passed to give us that 5.62 mils or whatever that was at the December road tax that passed. I don't see an issue yet. If we were staying in Logansport, or if we were staying in Stonewall, or staying in Pelican, or staying in Mansfield, I could see we'd throttle it back of how much time and how much money we're spending there. But it's not costing us anything. We're paying these guys to come to work every day. And to further clarify, last time y'all kept bringing up the Grand Cane project and that they paid 100% of theirs. If I'm not mistaken, that was a parking lot up on Main Street, or I guess you call that Main Street. I see Miss Richardson here. And the reason they paid for it, because it wasn't a road. It was an improvement that the town wanted to add parking across for festivities and carnivals and other stuff that they have.
I have a tendency to be very independent. If we can't afford it, we don't do it.
Right, yes, ma'am.
That's the only reason, but you all did give us the blacktop.
Right. So that's the reason why, they were used as the example of they were taking care of their business and everybody else was not, is the way I took it. And so that was just further clarification on that issue. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Any
Yeah,
Mr.
I wish the jury would really think about what we're doing here. You know, that tax is parish-wide. And, I think we need to help these towns in this manner. If they're gonna pay for the material and that type thing. It helps Mansfield, South Mansfield, and it helps everybody. It does. But I'm not gonna vote for it. I'm not in favor of doing that, but I am in favor of helping the towns and them paying for the material.
Okay.
Ms. Burrell?
Ms. Burrell?
Let me, I want to say this, honestly, let's speak honestly now. Honestly, I don't never recall Mr. Parker saying anything besides roads. All this other stuff, he done read off, wasn't even involved in it. We done made this, we got a knack of blowing stuff out of proportion and deceiving the people as for what something really is, cause he never said anything about the festivals, none of that. He said the roads. Let's be honest about it.
Ms. Burrell, read the corporate endeavor. Read it.
Let's be honest about it.
Read it.
He said roads. And we can change that part
need to
of
be
the
changed.
language. He said change the language about the road. The thing is, let's be honest about it. This started when the city of Mansfield, when I first became a police jury, and we started fixing streets in the city of Mansfield. Every time we fixed one, they wanted one fixed in Stonewall. It started there. Then y'all came back as a jury, and then y'all voted to come up with this. They pay for the materials, we do the labor. Since that time, I can't recall another road being fixed in Mansfield, cause Mansfield couldn't afford to pay for the materials. It don't benefit Pelican. It's not benefiting Stanley. I'm just being honest about it. For North DeSoto had a whole crew, and they stayed up there. I got pictures to prove, and I got in my 6x. I've been trying to tell y'all for years. All the money Beast Industries made from doing roads and stuff, cause they get to do it contract. We fix a road in Mansfield, we do it in-house. So that means a truck driver up there paying $80, we pay $80 an hour versus our people down here making whatever they make per hour. You see the difference? So I understand what Mr. Parker's saying, and I totally agree with him. Now we need to do something with the language. We need to put a limit on it. It needs to be something for its Grand Cane. When we fixed streets in Grand Cane, let's be honest about it. They got fixed from money that was allocated to me. I wanted to spend the money in Grand Cane. That's just the truth. I'm talking about quit trying to see these people and tell them what the truth is. Because that's the truth about it. And they do benefit more than anybody. Y'all better check the record and see how much money be spent on streets and roads on the northern end of this parish versus anywhere else, Dwayne.
Is there any more comments?
You know, Mr. President, I think I said in the committee meeting that, when roads that were fixed in Mansfield, and we started doing this back in, I started putting roads in, streets in, we had the money at 2008, probably about 2009 and 2010. I fixed several streets around in the Mansfield area. And at that time, I did it. We did it. We didn't require them paying any material. However, when we did when it was requested by that particular municipality. Then we put in CEAs that they would pay for the material done. But when we use our money that's allocated to us to put work on in our district, yeah, we pay for material, we pay for labor. And there's no carbon copy to a CEA. We don't have just a rubber stamp. And all CEAs, we put in the language for CEAs.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I've got some.
Mr.
Remember, Mr. Nernell, back when we were in committee on this? I tried to get it added where the jury could waive at our discretion. But the way this is worded, there's no waivers. We pass this,
Well,
it's like an ordinance.
just like I say, we make the language in these CEAs.
Are we gonna
Not
make it
administrative.
contrary to what this says? It says all. So that means,
Well, that depends.
yeah, we can't.
If
we
you have
can't do it
funding,
that
if you
way.
have, my
understand what you're talking
right,
about.
my
Yeah.
point is, if you have funding for,
A street or a road.
for a street or road to come out of the funding that have been allocated to you, then if you want to use that funding for that particular road, then you pay for everything.
Yeah.
You
yes,
pay for
sir.
everything.
Yeah, I understand, Mr. Earnell, but there's gonna be years we're not gonna have any excess funding.
Okay, well, then we have to go by what, your entity requested, then they have to pay for something. There was a time when entities did pay, you know.
Yeah, most of them have always
Yeah,
paid
some
for
of them agreed.
material.
So that explains why a lot of it was done in-house, because you got
Right.
it, you spend it out of your.
Spending on our allocation,
Allocation.
money that was allocated to us.
Yeah, but then they killed the in-house. That's what I'm telling y'all. When y'all came back and y'all voted, the cities have to pay for the materials and we gonna do the labor. That killed some of these people. That killed that. Cause Mansfield ain't got a road fixed since.
Like I
You see,
said,
they knew what they were doing when they did it. So that means that just freed up the money for it to go to the things that could afford it. Know what I'm saying? Now, Grant Kane's mayor sitting out here, and I offered to do some roads, and she did. She said, Miss Brea, I can do it. And I said, well, the money been allocated to me. I'm being honest, tell you, I got a good mayor. She said, the money we can offer. I said, no. I said, this is where I want to fix my roads, is in Grant Kane. Because we've been fixing them in Mansfield. It's only fair that I use my funding in Grant Kane this time. And that's how that took place.
But
But
can I tell you what happened? The only way they would do it if I signed a cooperative endeavor to fix a drainage ditch on Bluntwell Road that the state did 30 years ago, I wouldn't sign it.
yeah. See, cause I did work on Blunt Mill Road too. The road, that Blunt Mill Road, it got done the same time. I used that money out the money allocated to me when Blunt Mill Road was done. But what I'm saying is, something about this language needs to change because it puts other places at a disadvantage. It does. That's my problem I got with it, cause it puts Pelican, Mansfield.
Well, let me say something. If Mansfield
Thank
couldn't,
you for arguing
if
my
Mansfield couldn't come up with material, just half of it, they surely can't come with all the expense.
That's what I'm saying.
Think.
You
What
have
I'm
something,
saying,
Trina?
okay, I'm giving you a perfect example right now.
Well, we're gonna let
We
Ms.
got
Ms.
money
Trina-
allocated. I've been trying to get Sly Street. Now all the people that had money allocated, them roads fixed. They are fixed. Down on this southern end, it's still in the same shape it was from the time I tried to get it fixed. It ain't fixed yet. Y'all can accept it or reject it, but we get left out the loop on the bottom end of this parish, and that's just the truth. Dwayne, you've been getting quite a bit yourself.
Look at the
Okay,
report,
okay,
Ms.
hold
Burrell.
on, Ms. Trina, you had
Burrell.
something?
Well-
Let
Burrell,
someone else
look at
speak,
your
please.
report on the
My-
table in front of you. There has not been $1 spent in District 1B for last month. Anybody wants to look
Not
at it?
last
it's public
month,
record.
Dwayne. Come on,
on.
let's try last year and the year
It's
before
in
that.
front of you,
Order,
Ms.
Ms.
Burrell.
Burrell. Ms. Trina, you had something?
I was gonna make a suggestion, and I don't know if we could possibly, defer this so that we can have a discussion. Discuss this more before we, vote to say all, because all means all. Since there's, since it's saying that the roads in Mansfield are not being taken care of, or because of the lack of expenses being able to purchase some of it versus the roads in Stonewall, but can we just look at possibly us looking how it is written, because I wasn't here when it was written.
Yeah, sure, it's no,
And I
it's
really
no
want
time
to
pressing.
see it. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, you could make that as a motion if you like.
Well, I make a motion that we defer this until I'm able to look at it and read it.
Okay.
Second.
Do we have a second? Okay, we got a motion made by Mrs. Trina Ball, a second by Ms. Burrell on deferring it to further information. Please vote.
Contractors do what I see. Know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to have an even thing.
One remaining.
I think we're missing a point, though. When we do roads, and we do
Motion passes to defer. Item number
Exactly.
12.
Number 12, recommends authorizing the parish administrator to sign an agreement with Waste Harmonics to upgrade OnePlus monitors at the compactor sites.
So move. Second.
Got a motion made by Mr. Fuller, second by Mr. Mitchell. Discussion? If none, please vote. Motion passes. Buildings and properties and parks and recreations, item.
Building Properties met and recommends authorizing the parish administrator to sign a service agreement with Johnson Controls for as far as fire sprinklers at the jail.
So move.
Now, Mr. Ernell Jones made the motion,
Second.
second by Ms. Boyd. Discussion? Being none, please vote. Motion passes. Road items. Recommend approving the E911 name of Twisted Peach Private Lane off of Mills Road in Logansport.
So moved.
Mr. Baker made the motion, second by Mr. Mitchell. Discussion? If not, none, please vote. Motion passes. Item 15, recommends amending the road budget for drainage work on Cook Creek Road in Grand Canyon for $400,000.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Fuller, second by Ms. Burrell. Discussion?
Ms. Lilly, were you supposed to talk on that?
Well, I don't know if Mr. Norton reached out to Mr. Ross or not. He did wanted me to convey to y'all that his recommendation was to defer this until the next meeting or until he can get some information to make sure this is a parish road. Right now, the lines in the map are kind of close to saying this will be in the town of Grand Cane. So he's wanting to confirm that it is in fact either a parish road or not before we go ahead with voting on this.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to say, since I've been a jury, DeSoto Parish Police Jury has worked Cook Creek Road. I done looked at it, hadn't ever been a CEA with the town of Grand Cane. We took care of that road, and when other roads got fixed, that's what I was told. If we maintain it 4 years plus, it belonged to DeSoto Parish. So far as I'm concerned, it belonged to DeSoto Parish because ain't nobody else ever worked on it but DeSoto Parish.
But that was my question, how we don't know it's our road already?
Because when I was trying to get it fixed and get the work done, they told me it was a parish road. Now all of a sudden, it's a part of the city limit.
Any more discussion?
Mr. Woodley, have we maintained that road for 4+ years?
I've been here 19 and 3/4. I've been working it.
Okay,
So it's out.
I rest my case.
Okay. You had something, Mr. Mitchell? Did you have something?
Well, my question is to Mayor
Yeah, well,
of Grand Cane, Louisiana. Is,
Never done anything on that road. It floods every time it rains.
Thank you, Mayor.
I would have to research. It's asphalted. I don't know if the jury did that or not. We might have.
is it asphalt?
Yep, and we did it.
Okay, Mr. Parker have
Did
something.
that, Mr. Jerry? Did we do that?
Yep, we did it.
Hold on, Mr. Parker have something, Ms. Burrell.
The issue here seems to be that the road floods. District 1C, I've got 4 roads that flood every time we get any kind of heavy rain. And there's a lots of other roads parish-wide that floods. I'm most likely every juryman here has that same problem. I'm not against fixing roads. But do we have the money to fix all of them? Do we choose and prioritize which roads we fix first? Which one has the most people living on it? Which one has the most traffic? Blunt Mill Road is a through road. I don't know how many cars goes up and down that road. And the thing about it, it floods down about middle ways of it. And there's never a sign at Highway 84 or at Grand Cane telling you that road is flooded. So you drive all the way down till you get to the creek, and then you got to try to turn around on just the width of that road and get yourself back out. This is a problem that's parish-wide on a bunch of roads. I'm not against fixing roads, but I think we need to prioritize which ones we're gonna fix according to the traffic and the people that live down there, the use of the road. There's no need in fixing, and I'll use one of the roads in District 1C, the Roger Field Road, the Jesse White Road. They're both rural roads. There's people live on one end, and there's people live on the other, and there's nobody in the middle. They flood. It would be nice to build them up, but it would cost $1 million to build up Roger Fields Road. It's such a long stretch through the creek bottom, and we would have to build it up so much. We can fix the ends. The people there can get out right to a highway on each end. The people that live over around Cordova Road and the Charlie Jones Road, they have to go to Mounts Road, to 171 to get to Mansfield. They have to go to 3015 to go to Long Street to get to Logansport. That's a heck of an inconvenience for them as compared to some other people. And most of these roads, when they do flood, they don't flood for 2 or 3 days. They go back down in several hours. Think about what we're talking about here.
We have roads in our parish, and my district also, that flood, and like you said, Mr. Parker, within a couple hours, they go down. But the only thing I see about this road that makes it different from the ones that I'm talking about in my district is this is a dead-end road. And there are people living on one side of it that when it does flood, they can't get out. Now, I don't know how soon it goes down or how long it takes for the water to go back down, but they are blocked in. If this road floods, it goes over the road. I'll have to admit that.
Yeah.
Whereas on
I've
Holmes
been- I've
Road,
been up there.
Spates Road, and some of the roads in my district that flood, everybody has access another way around.
Okay.
So
Mr. Mitchell.
that would be my
finished?
only concern, is the fact that there's no access anywhere.
Okay,
Yeah, that
Mr.
was
Mitchell.
one of my, I got 2. That was one of my questions, if it was a dead end. Mr. Brown here? Could you come up here and tell us what's proposed to be done on that road?
Yes, sir. And Philip's here too, because he's
Okay.
proponent as well. It's, the proposal is to replace the culverts.
With what?
Larger culverts to accommodate the 25-year storm design, that's our standard, and to raise the road in that area sufficiently to where it takes more than a 25-year storm to keep those people from getting out. That's what the project is.
So raising to the height around what, 6 foot?
To accommodate the 25-year storm.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And the culverts that we put in.
When you say larger coverage, you talking about tank cars?
No, 40 inches.
Specifics, but, no, we can go up to 5 or 6 feet with, standard culverts. And sometimes we make that decision at the end based upon availability of materials. But yes, they're similar to railroad tank cars or the larger diameter culverts that we bought before.
Is proposed, is it clay that you're gonna pack in there, or it's not rock, is it?
We backfill traditionally with a stone or a rock, but we armor the slopes on each side to prevent that erosion in there. And if you maintain a 1-1 slope or greater, the riprap will stay there and perform. We also put a fabric down to help that situation. That's why it's a pretty expensive little project.
Yeah.
Try to do it right.
Are we gonna bid this project, Mr. Brown, since you stand up
Yes,
there?
sir.
So we know this is the total cost, or you haven't even looked at it?
No, sir. Mr. Phillip put together or reviewed the construction costs on it, and I added 10% for the engineering. And as I've mentioned to Mr. Parker, if Mr. Norton says y'all do that one in-house, we'll save that money, or at least if we run over, we'll have that extra money by designing it in-house, and we can prepare that one in-house if need be.
That's all the questions I have.
What was the motion? What was the motion on that, doing this? Was it to delay it or something?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
we never got a motion on
We never got a
deferring.
motion.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we
No,
got a
never
motion
got a
on the
motion
floor.
on deferring it.
No, Lily can't make a motion.
No, Miss Trina, I thought.
No, that was the last.
That was the last one.
One thing we have to remember about flooding, when you take care of flooding in one place,
Yeah.
you normally cause flooding somewhere else. So that's the thing you get into. When you start speeding the water flow up here, you're forcing it downstream somewhere else faster than it's supposed to go. So we're going,
Comes right down to Blunt Mill
it's
Road.
going somewhere.
Oh, we got an engineer on the deal. We got
Going down.
That engineer knows.
an engineer on.
He knows.
Well,
So, a question to you, Ms. Burrell, would you like to defer this till we get a little more knowledge of what what we're gonna do?
no, I'd like to vote on it now because my concern is, what if somebody is flooded and somebody trapped there and lost a life? I'm be looking right in y'all faces saying, I tried to prevent that from happening.
Okay, now this is my concern. If this item fails, it can't come back in 3 months. That's your whole summer of good weather right there.
Well, I'm gonna put it to you like this, Brother President. This, I have seen stuff put back on the agenda because the president said it can go back on there.
Okay.
So if it fail, you got the option to make it happen.
Okay, I just want to warn you, all your good weather will be gone. Actually, 4 months. It'll take another month to get it pushed through.
Well, Grand King will know I tried my very best to make it happen.
Fair enough. Would you please vote?
That's what I'm trying to understand.
We done spent money on many roads before, too. Big money.
Ms. Simpson.
We've spent this amount of money on other roads, right?
Way more.
This much on
Way
the splash
more.
pad.
Or more.
So what, I mean, really?
Yeah.
I voted.
Motion passes. Solid waste item.
Oh, excuse me. Recommends authorizing and approving the new terms with Live Oak.
Also move.
Second.
Have a motion,
Got a motion by Mr. Baker, Mr. Mitchell, second by Ms. Burrell. Discussion? If no discussion, please vote. Never mind. Our motion passes. Okay, we got an addition. Yeah, the policies and procedures deal? Want me to take care of it? Cal?
Sure.
Okay,
I don't have anything to
okay,
read.
okay, fine, no problem, no problem.
It's not on here.
Yeah, no problem. Policies and procedures, item number 1, recommend adopting the new holiday, policy, came out of committee.
So moved.
Second.
Got Cal make the motion, second by Mr. Ernell, discussion? No discussion, please vote. Motion passes. A motion to adjourn out of the regular meeting.
So move.
Got Mr. Jones made the motion.
Yeah.
Second by Ms. Burrell, Mr. Parker. Immediately after this meeting, we got a hearing. Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute break. We got a public hearing. 5-minute break, everyone.
Nuisance.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, everyone, let the public hearing call to order. We already did the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. And to get some public comments to the public hearing. If not, Mr. Michael Free Jr., are you here? Could you please come up and?
He's represented by me, sir. My name
Fine,
is Joey
come,
Hendricks.
you come sit beside him and,
I'm a lawyer from Shreveport, but I'm from Mansfield originally. It's been a while.
yes, sir, just express your name.
I wonder, man.
Michael Free Jr.
I was looking.
Okay. And your name again, sir?
Joey Hendricks.
Joey Hendricks.
First of all, I'd like to make a complaint about your notice to abate. It didn't follow the statute. It didn't give any options for Mr. Free to abate. And so I'm going to object to the meeting in general. And I realize we'll proceed, but I want my objection noted that it did not say what he needed to do to, quote, abate this nuisance. So I will do you want me to ask Mr. Free questions, or would you just like him to say what he's done to?
No, we just need to know what's going on, because most of the juries don't know about it.
Okay.
So we need to.
Y'all don't have any idea?
Right.
All right, well, I'll let Mr. Free explain to you.
Right.
If I need to interject, I'll jump in.
Thank you.
We believe you will.
Look like it ain't.
Yes,
First
sir.
of all, I received a letter.
Can I ask a question before you do it?
Yes, sir.
I know we skipped guests in public comment, but,
No, we didn't. I asked.
you on item one, eh?
Yeah, I went through the items. I asked.
Okay, I was just saying, if, the other person, if they wanted to say something, you know,
Well, we.
okay, I just wanna make sure they,
Go ahead, Mr. Free.
Okay, Mr. Free.
I received a letter saying that this is a notice because a complaint was filed to police jury. Courthouse records indicate you're the residents. The guinea fowl located on your property emit an unpleasant and obnoxious odor. By receipt of this letter, you're hereby notified that you're in violation of the following Parish Code of Ordinance. Section 50-2, all disagreeable or obnoxious odors, as well as conditions, substances, or other causes which give rise to emission or generation of such odors and stenches. So basically, I was given 30 days to respond, and according to this, abate the nuisance or request a hearing. So I requested a hearing.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Free, what if you have a pen on your property, is that correct, for your chickens? Correct. Or your guineas and chickens? Correct. You have guineas and chickens, right? Correct. Rhode Island Reds. Yes. And what have you done to, assuming that it was thinking at some point, what have you done to abate that smell? I mean, what have you done for your pen?
Well, once it rains, obviously, the ground around my house is rotten ground. It's black. I mean, you go out, try to walk, you're ankle deep in mud when it rains. So after every rain, since I've gotten this letter, I've put out lime and tilled it in. And you can't smell it.
How many guineas?
I got 3 guineas.
3.
How many? You said, Mr., you said 3 guineas?
3, yes, sir.
3?
Yes, sir.
How many chickens?
I've got 12 grown and probably 12 babies, which are in a separate pen.
How big a pen?
The biggest pen with the grown ones is 16 by 16. With the 12 babies is 10 by 10.
Okay.
How big a place do you have?
2.97 acres.
Mr. Ross, is anybody here that went out there from the jury office?
I think Miss Barber have, from the animal control. I was just trying to let him get his spell in and.
Is this adjacent to the other?
How, can I ask a question,
Please do.
Sir?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Free, how long before you got our letter, how long has this been an issue with you and the complainant?
He's complained several times. He called the,
Or let me ask first, how long have the chickens and or guineas been there?
9 years.
Well, guineas are less than a year old.
Well, yeah, but the chickens over 9 years.
And when did the complaint start? before the guineas were there?
Yes.
And have y'all had other issues with the neighbor? I mean, is this a legitimate guinea and chicken issue, or is it a really bad smell? That's why I was asking who's been there.
These are our neighbors on the other side, right there for the side.
You're gonna have to be recognized if you're gonna speak.
I'm sorry, you need to either come up and speak with
on up.
him.
If we may, can she come on up too?
Sure.
The lady.
Yeah, that's what I just asked her to come
Yes,
up.
sir. I'm sorry.
Just state your name.
I'm Michelle Free.
Okay.
They're technically my birds. I am Native American, and we use their feathers to make our regalia.
Yeah.
I have a business doing that. I have done that for the past 9 years that I've had birds there. I've done it before I moved over here in East and West Carroll Parish, where I lived before. Our birds are taken care of by our 2 autistic children. I have videos of that, and they are very well taken care of. We received the notification from the animal control people on December 7th. That's a big gap in between there, and that's during the very rainy season, where everything stinks. Down the road where there's nothing stinks. We took care of it as soon as it stopped where it would run off, because when there's this much water on top of everything, you can't put a lime out. It's gonna flush right off.
It looks like it's a flood zone.
So we've done everything we can to take care of the problem.
Got a question, Ms. Tree?
Looking at the picture, the fence or the area where the birds are located, are they adjacent to the other property? How much distance is there?
They're 30 feet off the fence line
30 feet off the fence?
to the closest corner.
Okay. And the area,
120 feet from the pool that he's got in the picture.
okay, and this area here basically looks like it may flood.
It's kind of a low area
It's
where
a
the
low
water drains.
area, okay. And then I know you stated about your children that are autism. Are they, how do they interact with the birds? Are they social, emotional? Are they considered a social,
I can show you.
emotional support?
Yes, I can show you.
Okay.
I might need to turn it up. That's my youngest son. He has
Okay.
level 2 autism.
Ah.
That's in the can with Guinness.
Okay.
My oldest son feeds the babies. Which those babies will be given to members of our tribe.
Okay. Okay. That's what I wanted to see too. Thank you. And the reason I asked that because I work in the school system and I work with children with autism, and I know how certain things, the attachment and how relaxed and calming it can be for them. So that's why I asked, was it as a social, emotional type of pet for them? Okay, pets for them, okay.
He has learned to help take care of them. He helps get the eggs. He
Okay.
understands the different foods you have to mix
Life
together.
skills.
Which. he
Correct,
has-
life
Yes, he has level 2 autism.
Okay.
He couldn't handle sitting in this room, but yet he's learned to manage all of this.
And that's the fence.
I have another question. As you said, it's about 20 to the distance?
It's 30 feet off the fence line and 120 feet to the porch that he's got in the picture.
I'm a visual learner, and I hear you, so I'm visual. I'm trying to
can't
visualize
do
that
that either.
distance.
20 feet here to that TV. Little further than here to that TV.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's what I want. Okay.
So you say you had 2-point-some acres there?
Yeah, 2.97.
And it looked like all of it's not wooded either.
No, it's about half woods, half of it's cleared.
You know, they got a mobile coop. Have you ever seen them, where you can move around in, and they stay on top of grass, you move them to a fresh place, and And there's also help your birds with the eggs also, you know, moving them like that. Just to
Well,
throw it
it's
out
kind of
there.
hard to do that when he works so much, and I am dealing with special needs children that need, especially my oldest, that needs constant 24/7 supervision.
Yeah.
How am I gonna go move that necessarily all the time?
Well, and we also have,
Every 3-4 days, you move them, and it's, don't take like 10 minutes.
we also have a lot of coyotes around.
Yeah.
And a pen that's built to where I could move it
They
to,
can get in.
for that amount of birds, it would be easily for a,
I mean, this pen got wheels on them, I'm
Well,
talking.
yeah,
I
they
understand
can
what you're
get under
saying,
it, no
but-
problem.
most of the ones I've seen have been made out of, PVC or something of that nature to make them light, be able to move.
Have you thought about moving the location of the pen possibly?
I've considered it, but
I'm just asking, is that something that you,
Well-
that you have considered
We
possibly?
were going to build it on the other side,
Okay.
build one bigger, but,
But-
that takes time.
Okay,
And he works
okay.
ungodly, and I do too.
That's what I was gonna ask for both, either of you. Is obviously y'all live there and you've had them for a while. What do you see as options that can address this to keep us out of it?
I feel like I've addressed.
Because we don't want to be in it.
I feel like I've addressed it by tilling in the lime and killing the smell. I mean, we've got other neighbors here that could testify that it don't smell. So,
And I'd point out, I don't believe anybody's been back out to inspect the property.
No.
So they came when it was pouring down rain in December, when it was nasty. And I mean, you can't do anything about it until the water ran off. And now Mr. Free is not only liming it, but occasionally he's tilling it up and turning it under and been putting the lime back on it.
Okay, do you remember when you did the lime work?
I've done it 3 or 4 times since I've gotten this letter.
Yeah.
Wow.
After it rains, you know, once I get a day or two after it rains and I get a chance, I get lime on it and till it.
Because we don't want, we don't want it to stink. It's directly behind our
It's
back
40
porch.
foot from my back door.
Right.
Would you like to hear from the neighbors?
If there's no more questions, can we, is the
There's
complainant
another
here?
group.
Right, yeah.
You know, I want.
You got one more question?
I want to make a comment, like I say, good evening to you, first of all. I'm a component, like Ms. Boyd just said, you know, I have no problem with the autism, you know, the animals that help with that. But I don't impose upon people what they can and can't do on their own property. Now, I don't believe in that. But on the other hand, now, when it becomes a nuisance to someone else's property, that's a different issue. So like I said, you know, depends on, you know, how this thing gonna go. I'm just letting you know upfront how I vote, because I don't want nobody telling me what I can do on my property.
Correct.
It's my property. But like I said, but whatever I do on my property causing harm or something to my neighbor's property, that's a different story. It puts in a different ball game then. And so like I say, you know, if you're getting everything in compliance and where it doesn't affect the neighbors, I'm fine with that. But if it affects the neighbors, that's a different story.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just want to share that. So.
But again, no one's come back out since we were
December 7th.
notified in December and then again since the letter.
Well, nobody came out with this. This just
Yeah,
was stuck in my mailbox without even the,
The return receipt card was off of the back of the envelope.
I didn't know if it was
They
real or
nobody
not.
signed for it. So, but obviously we got it.
Yeah.
Or we wouldn't be here now. But
True.
be that as it may, I think what I'm telling you, what my client's telling you is he has taken steps to abate the nuisance. And like I said, I've got 2 neighbors here that are gonna tell you that it doesn't stink.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I don't know that DeSoto doesn't have any zoning laws out there in Gloucester. But I mean, it's kinda in the country. And, you know, what if he had a horse and he fenced it in, or goats? Oh, goats really stink.
And there's multiple people.
Well, they would have to have more than a
horses,
10 by
goats,
10 area.
pigs.
Or, I mean, to put it even further, what if he put pigs out there? I mean, I don't know, I'm not really a city boy. I've been around the country and I know what a pigsty smells like, and it's awful. But chickens and hens, I mean, like I said, when all this happened, it was
They smell
pouring
nice.
down rain in DeSoto Parish. Y'all know how wet it was. You can't do anything to abate a nuisance when it's pouring down rain. He's done what y'all asked to do.
Okay.
He's abated it, he's liming it, and that should be that.
That's
I mean, really, that's what get rid of the odor, so he's limed it. So that, you know, I can't say there won't ever be a little odor coming out of there.
Go ahead, Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Ross, I'd like to know who sent him the letter. Did you did it? You were notified?
Yes, if I may,
Go ahead.
Well, the parish notified.
Well, I understand. She represents the
yes.
parish.
So, I sent the letter, based off of the animal shelter's visit, and the complainant has called regularly, even though they're putting down lime, the complainant says that it still smells. And the letter gives them 30 days to abate the nuisance, and we've still continued to get the calls from the complainant. And also the hearing was requested before the 30 days was up, so I didn't go out for a follow-up visit.
Okay.
So.
Any more questions on this side?
Mr. Ross, I wasn't quite through, Mr. President.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think somebody needs to go back out there. And to,
Not an issue of the aspect, we also were not notified that they were doing any of the abatement issues. So this was requested, and that's what we followed.
Okay.
And we'd be glad to go in and reassess, knowing also with the temperature. Definitely work with you guys. Lime does not usually kill, it kills the insects and the different aspects of, what the birds deal with and things. So it does help a little, but it doesn't always do it during rainy seasons, hot seasons, things like that. Is an issue, and which is why we were asked to come.
Okay, just hold that thought for a minute, Ms. Barber. You finished?
well, actually not.
Go ahead.
And hurry
I
up.
think it needs to be, I think it needs to be a visit now and a visit after, say, one day after a rain.
Okay.
And that way we can get a true assessment now and later, so.
All right, if that's all y'all have,
Well,
we would like to,
are the two neighbors from the other
No.
side of us that have been at our house and they live on the other side.
okay, we would like to hear from the complainant.
Yes, that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Say my name or? Just the ones.
Yeah, just go.
So little birds, so much stink.
I'm Lance Bordeaux.
Yes, sir?
You need my address, or?
No, sir.
I've been living out there for 17 years. I moved there in 2006.
Okay.
And, my neighbors has been there since, I want to say they moved there in 2010 or 12, somewhere around there. And ever since they moved there, it's been, they got chickens not too long after that, I guess. I think they had them for 9 years now. It's been a nuisance for me for a long time. I mean, but they started out with a couple of chickens, and we grew, and now they got guineas and the loudness. And I live on the east side of their property. So you got the southern and western wind coming straight into my yard. So every single day, it's so, the smell is so bad that my daughters, they're like, oh my God, what is that smell? They know what it is. But like, I have a lot of family come out. We have, I got an outdoor kitchen on the pictures. You can see by my pool deck. We have get-togethers, we eat, and then Thanksgiving dinner, and then recently just Thanksgiving, that was in November. April, just Easter dinner. After church, we had an Easter dinner, probably say 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Little breeze comes in. My sister's mother-in-law said, oh my gosh, she ain't been in my house before. What is that smell,
Right.
I said, it's some chickens next door, and she's like, oh my God. She gets her plate and walks inside. That's like that 24/7. I know they say they try to do it, but they say one thing and don't do something else.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's been like that. I mean, you can't even walk in my backyard without going, oh my God, it's like, it's really bad. Because, I mean, I do live on the eastern side, so the wind goes straight to basically straight to my yard and my kitchen, outdoor kitchen area. You're talking about 145 feet from their chicken coop to my outdoor kitchen. That's not a lot, that's not far at all.
What about the noise?
Noise, the guineas are so loud from time to time. I'll be honest, here lately, they did put a tarp up over the pen.
All right.
Here lately, they have toned down a little bit, but it's still loud. I mean, there's times in things sound like there's a chicken fight going on, and it's magnified times 10.
Yeah.
And I got a picture on my phone where their chicken coop, the drainage from there, it goes into my backyard. It's like green looking, mush looking stuff, and it drains right into my backyard. But it don't matter if it's rain, sun, shine, it don't matter, it still stinks the same.
Okay.
Mr. Ross, I got a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mitchell.
Do you have any farm animals?
Do I have any farm animals?
Yes, sir.
No.
None?
It's squirrels.
Squirrels, rabbits?
Are there any, what would you say your last name was?
Bordeaux.
Are there any, this is a stretch, but are there any covenants out there, what you
There is a
can and can't do?
covenants. There, I've given them to the animal control.
I mean, is it anything that references this in the
Let's say you're not
covenant?
supposed to have farm animals a certain amount from the property line, and it does say anything over two acres, you can have, but they gotta be a certain footage, like 200 or 300 feet from the property line itself.
Property
And
ain't
it-
even 200 foot wide.
But,
Hold on, you know, he didn't say when you was talking.
our property does go, I mean, it goes at an angle. So my house is 250 foot off the road, their house is about 50 foot off the road, and we're right next door to each other.
Yeah.
And I do have a privacy fence, and it's still under construction, I'm doing a 10-foot fence to cover that part of my neighbors. But, you know, the fence, you know, that's just not gonna really, you know,
Yeah.
you know, it might cut down the sound of the guineas, but it's not gonna cut down the smell, and the smell is worse than anything.
When did you first contact our animal control? Roughly.
Last summer, I think it was, maybe.
So they,
Put it this way, I've been putting up with a lot of crap from my neighbors over the years, and this is the last thing they did was the last draw. And I said, I'm not gonna put up with this crap no more, as far as the smell.
Now we getting down to the bottom.
And
I'm trying to go. So I was gonna ask, I believe during their time, they stated they've been there 9 years and they've had these birds for 6 years.
well, they started off with a few, now they got over 27 birds. That's a lot of birds, 25 feet from my yard.
So the amount of birds over time is what prompted you to contact
The
animal.
smell, yes, the smell's awful. I can kind of put up with the noise, but the smell is just ridiculous. I mean, it's to the point where, you know, it's not even enjoyable going out my yard anymore. It stinks that bad.
So right now, at this point, it's not three birds, it's not
Oh, no.
6 birds.
No, it's more than 20-something birds, I think you
Oh.
said, yeah.
Said 27, I think.
When you have 2 or 3, that's one thing, but you got 25, that's a
Right,
whole nother ballgame.
I knew we were getting.
So in your mind, what's a remedy to this situation?
I mean, I'm not saying he has to get rid of them, but he does have a lot of property behind, you know, just like I do. And I cleared all mine out. But he does have woods back there. And I know he has capability to have, you know, machinery with his job. I don't know exactly what he does, but I do know he has machinery over there in the past. And he could just clear a spot out in the woods farther away from my fence line and farther away from, you know, down deeper, where I think that, you know, the trees might dissipate the smell some, you know, and the noise too.
Let's see what he did here.
I'd like to hear from the other neighbors.
He cleared this
Okay.
out.
I'd like to hear from, we get a chance from our animal service.
Right, she'll be last.
And I got my 2 daughters right here too. They can verify. They're out there playing on the trampoline, which is 30 feet away from the chicken coop every day.
Right.
Can I hear from the daughters?
Further
I
back.
see where.
Yeah.
You mind if I hear from your daughter?
Yeah, go ahead.
At an angle.
Okay,
Can you
so
state your names for the
I see
record?
what he
My
cleared.
name's Alyssa.
My name's Haven.
Could you tell us your experience? I mean,
Just pretty much anytime we're outside, it stinks really bad. And when we're like going to our shed, which is decently close to the chicken coop, we can like when we're even inside the shed, we can still smell it. When we're like putting things away, putting Christmas boxes or anything like that, or playing in the pool or on the trampoline, on the swing set or anything like that. It's just pretty bad. And then like they're really loud, so like when you're out there, you can't really enjoy it as much.
Okay.
And so,
Good question.
usually whenever I'm jumping on the trampoline,
Speak a little louder.
use that microphone.
so whenever I'm jumping
Put
on
it down
the
to Put it down to you. There you go.
short. So, so whenever I'm jumping outside on the trampoline, usually there's a lot of noise from the chickens, and the smell is very bad. And there's some times that it doesn't smell as bad, and there's sometimes that it does really smell horrible. And I can't really enjoy my time outside because of that. Yeah.
Okay.
When was the last time y'all smelt it?
Every day.
Oh, every day. So the lime, has the lime helped any, or?
I mean, there's some days where it doesn't smell like completely like awful, but like most of the time, it's enough to make you not want to be out there.
Is this picture here, I don't know if y'all can see it, is that from your backyard or is that from their yard?
That's from our backyard.
From your backyard?
That's the shed right there, and the trampoline, if you can see it in the picture.
And so you're saying there will be or is a fence between you and the,
10-foot tall fence I'm building. I will be, I stopped a while back because I was doing construction, and I'm gonna continue.
so right now it's open air straight to your,
Well, we have a dog fence, but that's about it.
It's the shock wires that keep,
Yeah.
going over there.
One more other question for the father. How about the snakes? Yeah, nothing with snakes,
I get
chicken
my,
snakes.
actually, he does too. He keeps his grass mowed.
Yeah. But I mean, with eggs, some snakes come around, chickens.
I haven't seen too many snakes in my backyard.
Okay.
I got 3 dogs too.
By the creek, yes, but that's way back
I
there.
won't see any.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say from the chicken pen to the back property line, which separates our property as a creek, I would say it's about 450 foot, 475 foot from the chicken coop to our end of the property line, maybe 5 at the most. Our property is around 900 feet deep, 1,000 on each, it depends on what side of the fence line you're on.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, I'm not saying get rid of them, but at least try to move them somewhere where the woods dissipate the smell a little bit and the noise.
Yeah. Any more questions for the complainants?
No, but I just want to say, I used to be employed for Holly Farm, and I understand what he's saying about that odor.
Yeah, you can have a seat.
It can get terrible.
Thank you.
I think one of the main reasons, to be honest with you, besides the smell, it's the southern and western wind.
Come back up if you're gonna continue to come back up if you don't mind.
I think to be honest with you, the main thing is where they're located.
Yeah.
In the southern and western wind, just all, you know how the wind runs.
Right.
And it just floods it in my backyard, mainly right there, the play area, our pool, our outdoor kitchen, that side of my yard, for one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Someone wanna hear about the neighbors or something?
I want to hear the neighbors.
I'd like to hear it from our staff who's here.
You all want to hear from the folks that are neighbors that say it doesn't stink?
Sir?
Would you like to hear from the other neighbors that say it doesn't stink, sir?
Which side of the,
Yeah, which side the
which
neighbors
side do
on?
they live on?
You know,
what's their last name? Taylor?
Where do these neighbors live?
I'm trying to
at
figure out where they live
relationship
and-
to your house?
How close are they?
West
West
side.
side? Well, that would be to the left on this map that we're looking at.
So
way
they're
down
two,
there, huh?
they're 2 lots over?
yeah.
My map don't go there.
I'm
Well,
on a,
That's the only house I see, which is across the road.
What's that, Parr Road?
Parr Road.
So it's another house on the other
Parish Road
side of that?
690.
there's a lot on the map we're looking at. Those woods to the left of the nuisance property, that's a lot. That house you see on the far left side, that's the next property, that's the Taylor property. So there's no house, or it doesn't appear to be a house
Kind
on
of far away.
Across the street.
That's kind of
the. No,
far
sir,
away.
right here.
Oh,
This house right here,
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is the wind predominantly is southwest wind that we have here.
Right.
If they're living on the west side, they're not gonna smell these chickens anyway.
right.
Or guineas, either one.
It's kind of far away too.
But it's just specific if they've been in the
They do.
backyard.
They got trees buffering it a little bit too.
The trees are gone now.
They're clearing that lot, now the lots are cleared.
Okay.
What I'm saying is they visit at your home, your neighbors, and so they've been,
Been to my house.
they have seen
Sat
your
on my
chicken
back
coop.
porch, 40 feet away from the chicken coop.
So I think that their testimony would be somewhat relevant. I really think somebody ought to go out there and smell it.
Well, I asked
Well,
them
we-
to come up, but you
No,
came up.
we gonna talk to
I
her.
asked for the neighbors to come up.
Yeah.
Oh, she don't want to?
I'm sorry.
I'm going to see. I know exactly where you talk about and where they live. I ride horses up through there.
Would y'all like to come tell the jury what y'all have observed?
How you doing?
How you doing?
All right.
Can you state your name for the record?
Heather Taylor.
Speak to the mic, if you don't mind, pull it to you.
Heather Taylor.
Okay. Now, what is your experience when you on their porch?
I went over there last week, and she walked us in the backyard and everything, and I did not smell any scent.
There was just one instance you walked over there? There was one instance?
Yes, sir.
What part of the yard did you actually get in?
We went in the backyard. Like, I looked at her chicken coops.
Right up next to it?
Yes, in between both of them.
Okay.
We were like in the middle of both of them.
Were you invited to come see if you smell anything?
I mean, we were just talking.
We were just talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Went over there to have some coffee.
Okay.
300 feet.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Where do you live at on this picture?
Here it is. This is the complainant's property. This is the trees. That's another lot, and this is her house.
So that's the one I was just looking, okay.
That's her house. This is another lot.
Yeah, we quite know that she's not gonna smell it at her home.
That's the nuisance. That's
We
the
know that.
and
That's proven.
This is her house.
Okay.
Lot right here.
So looking at this picture to me, I mean, you're not gonna smell it through them trees. I mean, if
The
you
trees,
live
it's a lot
here,
of, well, she said it gone. but-
Well,
I for
when,
her, I didn't claim that I did smell it.
Richard, when she smelled it, she was at their home.
oh, she was
in
okay,
their
'cause
backyard.
I'm hard to hear, she's talking
Yeah,
low.
yeah.
I apologize, man, but
Okay.
that's why I was just trying to make sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting clarity. Yes, ma'am.
I'll help you. She said it was in between the two coops on their property, and
Oh,
she
in
didn't
between
smell
two
any
coops.
chicken-
Gotcha, okay.
any chicken feces.
Okay, gotcha. Now I can hear that. Thank you. I'm just
Well, I
making
thought
sure.
that would be the appropriate way to say it.
Yeah.
Remember
Uh,
the reason.
I hear what she's saying, but I mean, chickens ain't gonna smell either way it go. They're gonna smell. Yes, I mean,
That he's complaining on.
yeah. Okay. Is there's any more questions? Yes.
I want to hear from the staff.
Yeah, this is the last time.
He keeps talking about the noise. Well, the reason we got the guineas was, yes, we do have a problem with snakes. I've had to kill one out of my son's bedroom. Yes,
Right.
we have a problem. But his dogs are vicious, and there's an open gate there. They bark nonstop. And I have video of that, and when we come around to try to get the eggs, they lunge at that fence and scare the heck out of my children. But we got the guineas because we couldn't hear if the chickens were upset over anything, because the instant I stepped outside, the dogs start barking. You don't have to make a sound. And something needed to protect my birds. Now, we actually have less birds in that pen now than we did when we moved in. Because we had 12 birds in that pen when we first got it. And those we have two of the original ones that we got 9 years ago.
And how many birds today again that you have?
There's 10 birds in that pen. The other birds that are young are going to, they're underneath the back porch. They've only been out there a week.
Yeah.
They're going to my tribe. Those birds aren't staying there.
Right.
Those are birds that we hatched out for my tribal members.
That 10, that includes the guineas as well?
Well, there's 10 chickens and 3 white African guineas, which are the small guineas. But the problem of it is, the birds were hollering nonstop, yes, because the dogs were barking nonstop. And I have 14 videos of that on my iPad. I have videos of those dogs when my son and I are walking around the corner to go get the eggs out of the back of the chicken house, lunging at it and freaking my son out. He says that he can't enjoy his outdoor space. We haven't been able to either ever since he took down that side of privacy fence, because it used to completely encapsulate his land, but he took it down.
Okay.
And We can't be outside because of the barking. But we haven't caused a ruckus. His dogs have gotten out, got in our yard. I've called the neighbor to have them come put them back in. Not him, another neighbor. I've tried my best to just be as calm and let it go as much as I can. But if we're gonna talk about my birds, then we need to address the issue of dangerous dogs as well and how they are affecting my birds and my children.
Well, we just
you
got to
ever-
discuss what's on the agenda about the nuisance.
Well,
Have you ever talked to him about the dogs? Have you ever talked to him about his
mean,
dogs?
yes, we have said things about the dogs.
Not one time.
I have said it, yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
I mean, it's,
that was said to.
it don't matter in here.
Ex-wife.
We discussing the birds. I understand you have an
But
issue with the dogs.
Dogs affect my birds. And the dogs affect our ability to tend to our birds.
Okay. All right, we would like to hear from Ms. Barber now. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. President, will you allow him a chance to address the dog issue too? I mean, 'cause she said it
No.
affects the birds.
Well,
It's
no,
not here.
it's not on the agenda.
It affects the birds.
Yeah, we.
Dogs and cats.
Don't talk about the birds, man. You should
wrong?
make a complaint, man.
Sir?
Gotta make a complaint about
What
it.
I'm trying to say.
Well,
It's-
the dogs is not a
look,
nuisance.
If y'all give me a chance to say what I gotta say, you make it understand.
Yes, sir.
It
If
don't
the
matter.
issue is dealing with the noise of the birds and is dealing with the dog that's making the birds holler, that's relevant.
No, we're in here about the smell.
I'll tell you one more thing, and I'll be done.
Yes, sir.
They have 3 dogs too that barks at my dogs, and my dogs.
That's
bark
why we don't
back.
want to get in
They
this
do.
dog thing.
So they got dogs too.
Yeah.
That's why we don't get in this dog thing.
Okay, Ms. Barber, is Ms. Barber floor now?
Hi.
All right.
Hello, jury. Barbara Higginbotham, ACO's and director.
Kaylee Ebarb, ACO supervisor.
And yes, we were called out by Mr. Bordeaux as far as to come out and check. He was asking questions as far as the smell, the noise, what he can do. He was just trying to figure out a way to help make it better.
Right.
In the aspect of, we were trying to handle it through, we don't do fowl usually, we don't do
Right.
chickens usually. So we did follow up in the aspect of the ordinances of, is the husbandry a portion of it, that kind of thing. So the smell was very strong at the time that Kaylee and my other ACO went out there
Right.
and took the pictures. So they were very prominent, very offensive at that point. The noise was there, but guineas are notorious for letting in their alarmers.
Exactly.
Which is what they done. We've also been told that they have helped put another tarp, and when Mr. Bordeaux puts a fence up, that's also going to cut some of that down. Yes, I know that. But what the ordinance was found was over the smell. And at the time, and Kaylee can attest to the amounts and the smell and the structure, and I'm gonna let her take that portion of it, okay?
So whenever I went out there, me and my coworker, as soon as we pull up in the yard and get out, the smell is obviously terrible. I mean, you can't miss it. But the main part of it is I'm not here to, as you could refer, Hatfield and McCoy. So, by our ordinances in DeSoto Parish, a nuisance, damaging, soiling, urinating, defecating, or repeatedly trespassing, which doesn't matter, so excessive barking or noise making so as to disturb peace and response of persons living or working nearby, molesting, threatening, attacking, or interfering with a person on private property, disturbing, turnovering trash cans, or causing unsanitary conditions or odors on or about the premises of its owner by urinating and defecation. It shall be unlawful for an owner's animal to cause a nuisance by excessive noise, by barking, or otherwise call a foul or offensive odor, which at the end of the day, that's what it is. My own opinion, if they're gonna be moved, then move them and it's gonna break down the smell. If not, then I don't know what else any of us can do about it at this point. I can say though that the dogs were not aggressive when we got out there. I get out the vehicle, they're wagging tails, whatever. They were barking, but we were out there for 20, 30 minutes and they laid down and went to sleep.
Yeah.
But
But as for the nuisance, the smell, it's bad. I know we have not been out there again. I will personally drive out there myself tomorrow and can attest to the smell and how it is as of right now. But as of December 7th, it was not good.
Right. And that was my recommendation for the jury to go out, see, and give us an update on it.
Yeah.
Sir?
Oh, I was, she thought you were saying we needed to go out there, and I said, no, them.
No, no.
No, I'll go out tomorrow.
But I do have a question.
Yeah, yes, sir.
What, is the condition where the birds are kept, is it sanitary? Is it normally sanitary as chickens and guineas go?
I mean, they're nasty in general. If they're being taken care of the way they are claiming to be, I wouldn't think it would be that bad, because the day we were out there, I mean, it's just in the soil. You can't clean that when it's in the soil, so you're not going to get rid of the smell. When it's 30 foot from somebody's property line, I mean, it's going to stench.
So it was sanitary the day you went. There's nothing unhealthy
No,
or...
I mean, it's not like they weren't poorly taken care of or nothing like that.
Can you define, from your office standpoint, what a nuisance smell is? Because my sister bought some nasty perfume for my wife, and it was a nuisance to me, and I threw it away.
Just any foul odor. I mean, if you've gone by chicken houses, that is a foul odor, and that is what it smells like.
I mean, it is feces, it's not, it's the waste product from these animals. There's other means, not just lime. You can use shavings, mulch, something different to kind of break open.
And we recommended
that. Just a kind, you'll have to go out and clean it and do the husbandry portion of taking care of these animals, which she has done apparently very well with her children teaching. So they looked apparently.
Well, and I'm not arguing for or against.
No.
I just want to know
but
your perception, because
yes,
there's horses kept behind me, and on the right day,
it smells.
the horses stink.
Mm-hmm.
On the right day, my dog stinks, who's in my house. And so I'm just asking, what is, I don't know that this body or that your office is going to be able to determine a nuisance and reasonable when it comes to, we can do sound. You can go out and measure sound. We have no way to go out and measure smell. Like I just said a minute ago, some smells I don't like, some smells I do. I hate cabbage.
I'll cook everybody gumbo. You can mow my house and y'all.
But I'm just saying, and here again, I'm not arguing for or against it. I'm just thinking, to me, some of this battle appears to be a neighbor feud, and some of it appears to be, I mean, are we going to say you can't have chickens anywhere in the parish if you live close to somebody? Because they're all going to smell. Every cow's going to smell. Every dog's going to smell. All of us are going to smell at times. So, I'm sorry, you are. We all are. I'm just saying, that's all I'm asking you.
No, and I mean, I guess that would be under the covenant of the neighborhood as far as whether livestock's allowed in that property area or not. I don't know what their covenant is, but I do know, the smell of a chicken house and the more birds you have, the more offensive it will get. When it's moist and damp, maybe they hadn't cleaned, I don't know.
When you were there, was it more than reasonable more than a reasonably expected chicken coop?
Yes. In my personal,
It was worse than than an average.
In my professional opinion,
How do you call the average?
yes.
So what do you call the average?
That's what I'm trying to ascertain with them. I don't.
An average chicken coop.
I mean,
Probably about 6 birds to the side.
It says it smell, it says it smell. I grew up, born, raised in the country, raised chicken house, all that. And my father would always move them, like they say, to the backwoods, cause when they was up closer to the house, you couldn't enjoy outside. I sympathize with them, cause I've been there, done that. And yes, it can get real nasty. You can measure it, trust me.
Okay. Is there any more question for Mrs. Barber and her team? If not, I would like y'all to report out, or the jury would like for you to report out and give us a report back.
We'll do after tomorrow. We'll go out. It's dry this week, and then there'll be another wet week, and we'll go out and assess at that point again.
I got one more question. Now, you went out in December, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, is the smell more prone to be worse during the winter months, rainy months, as it is opposed to the drier months?
Wet months are gonna be bad, but hot months are gonna be just as bad.
Yeah,
Really?
even worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be worse.
Okay.
Hot months gonna be even worse, baby.
Magnified, you know, something.
When they really is supposed to be enjoying their yard.
Okay, well, that'll wrap it up, and any of the body have any more
So what
suggestions
conclusion we gonna
or
come up with?
opinions? Sir?
I know you said they're gonna go out and look at it and listen and smell, not look at it, but, you know, check it out. So, I mean, when they bring it back to us, what are we gonna do?
Well, that's something we gotta decide.
I mean, when
I
are we
mean,
looking
it
at doing
ain't,
that? And,
it's
my
not
own,
all
when are
right
we
to
looking
tell
at doing it?
tell a person what to do with
They
their
bring it
property, in
back.
my opinion, you know. I would think that
They would be able to work it out.
he would be a little leaner to try to move the coop, you know, to keep down confusion. I know at this point it's pretty much like one winning, one losing, but I don't see it that way. I see it trying to live neighborly and get along. Cause you never know down the road, you might need that neighbor for something.
Oh, I wanna,
Ma'am?
I wanna say this though. Really, if that's what she reading is our ordinance, then we gonna have some kind of leeway, cause you got to abide by what we done put in place. And that's just the truth. We gonna have to just take our responsibility and do
Right.
what we need to do. Cause if it's in place, that's the ordinance. It's in place, so if we need to go on and do our,
Well, when
what it is,
Zoning. They voted
that
it down,
we
man.
should have been done.
They voted
Yeah,
it down.
but
And, yeah,
we talking about,
Could've been
you know,
had.
right now, when Miss Barber come report to us, then that'll lead us to do what we have to do according to our ordinance.
cause that makes Brittany's job hard. When we don't abide by our own ordinance, that makes her job hard. If we gonna put something in play, we need to stick to it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make a motion, we defer until after animal control makes another visit. gets
I
back with
second.
us.
Let's seek some experts.
sir.
Is there anybody experts in this field? We could do there. Anybody experts out there?
I second.
That means the
Got that, Miss
experts.
Jody?
Them experts, the animal
We
control.
gonna
them
defer that.
experts for something.
I mean, somebody know how to treat it.
Right.
Stop it.
So I got a, sir,
Can I ask you to do me a favor? Whenever the smell test come back, would y'all notify me of what the verdict is?
yeah, sure will.
I would appreciate it. I don't know if y'all got my phone number.
Make sure
but I'll give it to you.
Make sure Brittany has it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jody's got it.
Yeah, they
Thank you.
make her job hard.
A motion to adjourn.
Get nothing done now. It's over laminated.
Second. We adjourn. Thank y'all for coming out.
You going home? You going home? I want you to be able to enjoy your backyard. I want you to be able to enjoy your backyard.
I ain't seen him so long. I ain't seen him since high school. I didn't recognize him.
Keep Mr. Baker from eating them up.